Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brianna and this is Coffee, Books, and Bullet Journals. I make book and lifestyle related content Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, and today we're going to talk about the books that I read in the month of June. First off, yes, I have a new haircut, a new color. I decided to chop it all off. Like, I've got the whole undercut going. It's quite fun. It's all in the back too. Like I did an undercut in the back and it feels so weird. But I was tired of having long hair in the summer. It just wasn't working for me. So I chopped it all off. It was a choice, but I love it. So only positive comments below, nothing negative, please. Okay, I had a really good reading month in the month of June.
Was it because I was reading almost exclusively queer content?
100%. I read a lot of books in the month of June, and I think I'm finally back to like either almost being on track or being on track with my Goodreads goal, which is great. Unfortunately, I didn't have a ton of like standout favorites that I was hoping to have. I really wanted to find a new favorite in Pride Month, and then unfortunately that didn't work. I still had some 5-star books, but I don't think that any of them will end up on my top books of the year. So let's talk about nerdy stats. I've got them all here on my iPad. So in the month of June, I read 13 books for a total page count of 4,267, which is crazy to me. I had an average rating of a 4.12. So like I had a lot of good books. This is my second highest month as far as an average rating. I had some really big disappointments. I didn't have anything lower than a 3-star, which is good. I had 3 3-stars, 1 3.5 star, 3 4-stars, 2 4.5 stars, and 4 5-stars. Some of those were rereads though, so like they don't really count, I guess. I read 3 debut authors, 6 books, or 6 by authors that I have read before, and 4 authors that were new to me. This was probably the most interesting stat, and I only read 5 audiobooks, 8 physical books, and 0 ebooks. Everything was physical, which I think a lot of that comes into play with the graphic novels, because I was physically reading those. So for genres, I read 3 contemporaries, 2 fantasies, 3 graphic novels, 3 romance, and 2 sci-fi. That was pretty good, well-rounded setup there. I read 6 designated at an adult audience, 1 at a middle grade, 1 at new adult, and 5 at YA. With my mid-month wrap-ups, I always talk about them in chronological order, but with my end of the year, it's not the end of the year yet, the end of the month wrap up, I always do this based on my least favorite book all the way down to my favorite book. So let's get started. My first 3-star read was probably my biggest disappointment, and that was Nevermore, The Trials of Morgan Crow by Jessica Townsend. This is a book that possibly could be me. It could have been that I was in like really bad headspace, but I have been trying to read this book since the end of March, possibly, or April. I don't remember, but like it's been a while. It had to have been April because this was on Bucky's board. So yes, April. And I don't get the hype. I was struggling to get through it. I was slogging through it. I basically had to force myself to pick it up, which is never a thing that you want. So I'm a little bit frustrated. I tried to do the audiobook. That still wasn't working. Now I wasn't in a great headspace for like 2 of those months. But like the fact that this took me that long to read is disappointing, and I didn't fly through this like I wanted to. So for those of you that don't know what Nevermore is, this is about a girl who is cursed, and she believes that everything that bad that happens around her is her fault, and everyone else believes that too. So on her 12th birthday, she is destined to die, but then she is asked to become part of this like magic school thing, and then has to go through a bunch of tests and like to train and become this magic. I don't really know. And I felt that the big plot twist, like every step of the way, was predictable, and it was just fine. Like it wasn't terrible, but it was just fine. And because this is so hyped on BookTube, it was a disappointment because I didn't get the hype. So unfortunately, it's only a 3-star for me. The next 3-star book that I read was The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren. This was a book that I swapped out on my TBR, and this one, for like a large majority of the book, I actually really liked, but then the third act breakup was just so sloppy and lazy that it really killed it for me. Romance books, and I've talked about this before, if the third act breakup is bad, the whole book is bad. That's just how that is. So basically, this book is about two people. Obviously, it's romance. But it's about this woman who takes this DNA test to see who her perfect match is, and finds out that she has this super high match with the owner of this DNA matchmaking company. So they're supposed to be destined to be soulmates. And so then they start this fake dating relationship, because neither one of them really like each other, but he wants to do it as this, like, basically marketing plan to basically be like, look what this can do, look what this matchmaking service can do. So they did this fake dating, and then they obviously fall for each other, but like it started out really interesting. She has a great relationship. She has a 7-year-old daughter, 6 or 7-year-old daughter, and then also she lives with her grandfather, and so like that family dynamic was really good, and I really enjoyed that. But like the relationship was like meh, it was fine, but it wasn't anything great. And then the third act breakup was just so sloppy, so lazy, and like, I don't know, I expect more from Christina Lauren, so it was a 3-star for me. The next 3-star book that I read was Let's Talk About Love by Claire Kahn, and this was a book that I read for Queer Blackathon. This had a really interesting conversation about asexuality and who to come out to and how to come out, and it was really eye-opening for me because I'm not ace, and this definitely opened my eyes to that, because like some of the things that she said, like, oh, this is how I feel, I'm like, oh, I don't relate at all, but it was interesting to read from someone else's perspective, which you should 100% do. Do not read just from your own perspective. Read to educate yourself. That being said, this was a very predictable story. The actual plot of the story was nothing special. The other thing that bugged me so much was anytime she had this internal monologue to herself, she would put it in parentheses. And it would kind of take you off track. So you would say something about the character and then in parentheses, but actually she was da 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 da. And it really took me out of the story. So I actually ended up having to finish this one on audiobook because you can't really tell that it's in parentheses then, because reading it physically was just, it would jar you a little bit. So I didn't really love that. But the story, I think, is really important, and I don't see enough books about ace characters, so this was a breath of fresh air. My 3.5-star read was This Is How You Lose the Time War. Can't remember the author, but here is the cover. And this was the group book for the Avengers Initiative Reading Challenge, and I will link the live show that we did up there in the comments. This one was interesting in a not great way. Here's the thing, the writing, the prose, the letters, 5 stars. Beautiful, beautiful writing. But it's a novella, and I don't like novellas. I don't like the fact that you don't have any world building in novellas. And when you have this, literal war going on between two entities that want different things for the world, and then there's time travel, and like the way that they give the letters to each other are like on a falling star, and like, what does that mean? I don't know. So I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. And this book I think should have gone one of two ways. So it should have either been like a collection of short stories type of thing, or a short story where it's just the letters. But the problem is that we had these like also plot things happening in between. So it should have been either that. So either just these letters, or a 400 to 500 page novel with world building. Then I could have understood what was going on, but I got pulled out of the story because I didn't know how things were happening and what things were going on, and I am not someone who can just look at the characters. If you are a character type person and you just want to see the story of two people, this book will work for you. I need to know what's going on around the characters, not just what's going on to the characters. characters, if you know what I mean. So if you are more of a character type person, you'll really, really love this, but I didn't. Let's move on to our 4-star reads. I'm going to talk about the graphic novels first. So the first one is a reread, and that was Heartstopper Volume 1 by Alice Oseman. I read this, I think, last year. I want to say it was last year. And then just never continued on with the series. And so I decided I wanted to reread them. This is really, really cute. This is about a boys at an all-boys school. And one of them is openly gay, Charlie. And then Nick doesn't really know. I mean, he's had girlfriends before. But he now kind of likes Charlie. And it's really cute. This is like boy meets boy, boy becomes friends with boy, and they like join the rugby team, and it's really, really cute. There is definitely some homophobia and some like public outing, and it's not great. I mean, the representation is fine. Like, it's not great that it happened, but I don't think that it was bad representation of something that could very, very easily happen. I didn't love this one as much as Volume 2, which we'll talk about here in a minute, but it was still really cute. It was a good reread. So then I read The Girl from the Sea by Molly Knox Ostrag, and this was so cute. So cute. The graphics on this one are just, I mean, I've shown this in like a lot of different videos, but they're so cute. And it's about this girl who falls in love with a selkie, which means that she can turn into a seal, and she can come onto land once every 7 years, and then they kind of like fall in love and have this cute little summer romance. And then they're trying to save their town and save the seal sanctuary that's nearby. And it's so cute. It's so cute. It's insta-lovey. Absolutely. It's what you would expect from like this little summer romance thing. I feel like it feels like it could be like a Disney Channel movie or something like that. Really, really cute, and the art style is adorable. Then my next 4-star read I did talk about in my mid-month wrap-up, and that was Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. This is an adult contemporary romance. More contemporary than romance, because you're actually trying to, like, she's trying to find out who she is as a person. And it's really, really cute. But she goes to Vegas and gets married to a complete stranger, and then it's like a little romance between the two of them. They don't know each other. So I did talk about this in my mid-month wrap-up quite a bit, and in previous vlogs, so I'll link them up above. Then my 2 4.5-star reads. The first one was kind of a 4.25, 4.5, like on the verge, so I rounded up. And that was Lost in the Neverwoods by Aiden Thomas. This one was a really good time. I'm a huge fan of Peter Pan retellings. I think I watched Finding Neverland on repeat when it came out, or when it came out on DVD. I loved that movie. So this was a really, really fun way to kind of get back into that world with a different twist. This is like not a direct retelling. It's definitely set in a contemporary world. I love the fact that it's an older main character for YA, like she's 18. And it was really, really sweet. I actually listened to this on audiobook via Libro FM. I was able to get a copy of it, and then I went out and bought it because the book is so beautiful. I actually think I liked this one more than Cemetery Boys, and I know a lot of people like Cemetery Boys more than this one, but I think I like this one better. But I bet that it's because it's a Peter Pan retelling, but it's definitely made me want to pick up more. And I know that like Kay Ankrum just put out one, or is about to put out one. There was another one called Wendy Darling by AC Wise, and like now I want to pick up all of these and just read Peter Pan retellings. But you know, Categories isn't gonna let me do that, so oh well. Although this month it could have, if I didn't also have Secret Projects. Then this is a book that Bethany recommended to me at Beautifully Bookish back at Bethany, and that is A Winter's Orbit by Everina Maxwell. This is a queer sci-fi. It's kind of Red, White, and Royal Blue meets Star Wars, which is a good time. That's a very loose way of putting it. There's definitely more like individuality to it. But it is about these two men that have to get married for political reasons, to basically bring their tribes, their kingdoms, whatever, together. And then there's this like mystery scandal intrigue about one of the characters' former partners and how he died. And there's just a big scandal. It's lots of fun. But then also like the space politics. I love that. Like anything political. Love it. I read this one back and forth physically and via audio. I do recommend the audiobook. I like one of the narrators. One of them has a funky accent. when he's doing the dialogue of the other character. That threw me off a little bit. But it's also a really fast read physically. So even though it's pretty thick, it read really, really fast. Now let's talk about my 5-star reads. The first one was a reread, and that was Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. I did get to annotate this one, so I'm reading this for the Talia-a-thon. And then we finished Danny Brown last week, and then we are getting into Eve Brown this week. Super excited to restart that one. So this is the first book in the Brown sisters. It's about the oldest sister. It's about Chloe and Red. Red is the superintendent in Chloe's building. Chloe has a near-death experience and then wants to get a life. She has this bucket list of adventurous things she wants to do, and she recruits Red to help her. There's also the cutest little cat named Smudge, and I'm here for it. I love this. I will link my live show up above if you want to hear our thoughts about it. And it was a good time. It made me very happy. It's one of the things that has really helped me get out of the slump. This book, all three of them really, but this book in particular is definitely my get out of a slump book, and I'll just listen to it on audio. I think I've read this book 4 times now. So there's that. Also Danny, I think I've read 4 times. Okay, then we had Heartstopper Volume 2, and this one I think was just beautiful. It was so cute. This one, again, definitely has some homophobia in it. One of Nick's friends is like very publicly against it, but he fights back in this one, and this one's cute. And it also really digs into Nick's identity and trying to figure out who he is, what he identifies as, because he was having this really big struggle of like, but I also like girls. Like, I think girls are cute, but I like Charlie, so what am I? I'm not gay because I still like girls. So trying to figure out if bisexual fits for him or what. So really, really cute. These 2 boys are just the sweetest cinnamon rolls ever. Then I read another Talia Hibbert book, and that was Work For It, and this is her male romance, and I loved this. This was so good. I mean, just another win for Talia Hibbert. This is actually, I thought it was 2 gay men, but one of them actually on paper identifies as pansexual, and I love that. This is about like 2 grumpy men. So grumpy, so like against each other. They have this one night stand, and they like, it's very hot and steamy, and then he shows up at the vineyard that the other man works at as a friend of the owner. And so then he freaks out, and then they like have to figure out who they are and like how they can be friends. And it's so good. And the wonderful thing about it is that neither one of them feel like they deserve each other. And they like call that out real quickly. He goes, he'll say like, I want you to stay, but I don't deserve it, or something like that. And he's like, no, you 100% do. You absolutely do. And it's so precious, and I loved it so much. I'm really enjoying going through Talia Hibbert's backlist. It's a lot of fun. And I'm, finding new gems, which is great. Then my favorite book of the month, lastly, was Perfect on Paper by Sophie Gonzalez. This is a YA book. I'm giving a YA contemporary romance 5 stars and calling it my favorite book of the month. Who am I? I don't generally love YA contemporary romances, and I was expecting this to be like a 4-star read, definitely, but I loved this book. I loved the talk and the commentary about bi erasure and biphobia, and the fact that she didn't feel like she was queer or actually bisexual because she wanted to be with a boy. She runs this queer and questioning club at her school, and then she's like, well, I like a boy, so like, can I even go to this to this club anymore because am I straight? It was beautiful. So the plot of this story, guess I should talk about that. This girl kind of writes a Dear Abby column, but it's not really a column. People put letters into an abandoned locker, and then she gets them out and then emails them back. and you know, just basically on relationship advice. It's actually really cool to like learn and talk about these like these different types of relationship styles and different types of things like that. So I actually kind of picked up a few things and learned a few things, so that was kind of cool. But it did call out some problems with this in the fact that, you know, she's a white woman, and you know, she has had a girlfriend, or she's liked girls, but she does not know the range of experiences of people, and like people call her out on that, which I thought really, really like uplifting, and you know, it was real, and the fact that we didn't just sugarcoat this and make it seem like everything was okay. Sophie Gonzalez did a really, really good job about, you know, being inclusive. There were so many LGBTQ plus people in this. There's lesbians, there's non-binary, there's pansexual, like so much. Loved it. Pick this book up. I did not read Only Mostly Devastated. I know that a lot of people did like it, but it was kind of more on that like gambit of traditional YA romance. So even if you didn't love that, I think that this might be a book for you. Especially if you identify somewhere under the bisexual umbrella, because I felt really seen in that book, which is not something that you normally see in a YA romance. As a 31-year-old woman, I'm almost 32 years old. Wow. Okay. It's fine. I just like had a existential crisis there. Okay. Anyway, those are the books that I read in the month of June. Have you read any of these? If you have, let me know what your thoughts were. And if, you know, we're on the same page here, maybe you really loved Nevermore. I'm sure you did. Most people on BookTube did. And if you're not feeling chatty, put a rainbow down below, because we had an excellent Pride month for the month of June. So yeah, thank you all for watching. If you are new here and you have not yet subscribed, there's a little red button that you can do so down below the video, and all of the links to my social media will be in the description below if you would like to be my friend on any other platform. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.